collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Spider-Man and Venom from the Epic World of Action Spider-Man line from Hasbro. So this is part of the Venom Versus subline. Previously we saw some entries for Venom Versus in the Avengers line, so it seems like this theme is kind of spanning everything that Hasbro is doing for the newly named Epic World of Action. I liked Epic Hero series better, I'm just going to say it. But in any case, here we have Spider-Man. He comes with some like symbiote parts that you can clip on to kind of make it look like, you know, the symbiote is on him but not quite bonded. If you've been reading what's going on in the comics right now, and a little bit of spoilers in case you're trying to avoid that, maybe you're going to get to it a little bit later, but just the next couple seconds, spoilers. In the Venom War like storyline that's going on right now, there is a time where Spider-Man wears the suit, but he doesn't allow it to bond to him, so it's just kind of like hitching a ride. And I'm wondering if that's what this is trying to emulate, which would be kind of cool. You know, here on the card art, you can see it's like fully on him, but it does have kind of like the split down the middle. So it could be simulating that from the story in the comics where he's wearing the suit, but he's not allowing it to bond with him. And then we have Venom here, which has the large wings like we saw back in the King in Black storyline in the comics. But I gotta ask, what's up with the lobster? I mean, that is a lobster. I don't know what's going on with the design on his chest, but it does not look like a spider to me. It certainly doesn't look like the classic, you know, white spider that Venom usually has on his chest. I don't know. It's a lobster to me. So I don't know what's going on with that. Otherwise, I really like the shade of the plastic, this kind of metallic-ish, you know, bluish black. I always thought that design was kind of neat and reminds me of kind of how they colored Venom back in like the Lethal Protector storyline, Maximum Carnage, that kind of stuff. That's the artwork for Spider-Man. That's kind of my favorite, what I grew up with. So I really like the shade of bluish black they're using here. I just wish that spider design was a little better because that's kind of weird to me. But for the packaging here, you know, I like this new card art for Spider-Man. You know, we have the bluish purple going on here with the Venom Versus logo. Taking a look at the back, you can see that there are actually 3 figures available. I have not been able to track this one down yet. I mean, to be fair, I have not found any of these in store. I've gotten them all from Amazon. They've kind of been releasing sporadically on Amazon. So I think this one is up on Amazon now, but it won't arrive until January sometime. So I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll just find it in store. The other thing I'm not really sure about here is, so you have this this figure here, which this is Miles, in case you're not certain, it is Miles, with this like green symbiote on top of him. It's got suction cups, it looks like, and it looks like this green plastic is going to be a very floppy, flimsy material. I kind of want to wait and see it in person before I pick it up. If it's like sticky or goopy in any way, I'm not interested, just because I don't like, you know, to get that stuff on my toys. So might be passing on this one. I'm going to have to wait and see what it's like, or maybe see a video from someone else. I'm not sure, but might not be getting Miles only because I don't like the green plastic. And I've already got several other Miles figures, so I can just live without this one. But yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll get these two out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. So here they are out of the packaging. I actually think they're both pretty cool. I actually really like the Spider-Man with the Venom symbiote just kind of hanging out. This little head over here to the side I think is really well done. We'll take a look. We'll move Venom a little bit out of the way here. So I really like this. I think they did a really nice job. The paint's fantastic. The head sculpt is great. The tongue is really funny. If you want to take it off, you can easily just unpeg this piece if you want to pretend like it only pops out at times to talk to Spider-Man and then goes away. You can certainly do that. He's got these tendril pieces. They just kind of pop into the hands, and then you just clip them onto the forearms. I believe it's the exact same piece twice. It looks to be, you know, exactly the same. You can see there. And then when you kind of put it in this one, it just kind of furls out to the other side. So it totally works. I think it works perfectly fine. But I do believe it is just the same piece times 2. But yeah, you can see that they clip on pretty easily. And I will say, I think this is the first Spider-Man we've gotten that has 2 normal grasping hands. Usually he has 1 web shooting hand. And because of the way the accessories work, they obviously couldn't do that. So he has just 2 gripping hands. This piece here is made out of like a softer, more malleable material so that you can fit it over the body. And then this piece is kind of a softer, more malleable plastic as well. And you can see the big rectangular piece there that just pegs into this very, very simply. The cool thing is, because this is kind of, softer, you should be able to put this on other Epic Hero Series figures. Let me see if I can put this on Captain America here. It's a bit of a stretch. Maybe not, actually. I was hoping this would open up a world of possibilities, but it's a little tight. I think Spider-Man's body frame is a little bit smaller and thinner. Yeah, so certain characters, it might. This was just the first one I grabbed, and unfortunately it doesn't look like it fits because Spider-Man is quite smaller. But you could probably put it on Miles. You could probably put it on other Spider-Man figures that you might have. How do we still not have a Spider-Gwen in this line? Just thinking out loud. Anyway, I don't know why the eyes are colored blue. That's the only part of this release that kind of confuses me. I don't know, maybe they're just looking for something different, just so that way if you're playing with this as a normal Spider-Man figure, it's slightly different. You can see that the spider on the chest is a little bit larger and more wild as well. I really kind of wish that the eyes were just the usual white, though. It doesn't look terrible in blue. It's just weird and confusing. Otherwise, posability, pretty standard for an Epic Hero Series figure. I'm sorry, Epic World of Action. That's going to take some getting used to. So you're on a ball joint here for the head, side to side. You can lift it up and down. You can tilt side to side ever so slightly. You have a hinge and a rotation in the shoulder. You have a hinge and a rotation in the elbow. Forearm is one solid piece, nothing in the wrist, nothing in the waist. Kick out to the side, kick forward, and then you have a hinge and a rotation in the knee, and then the leg is one solid piece, so nothing in the ankle, nothing at the boot cuff or anything like that. I also will say I feel like this is a darker blue than we're used to. I feel like it's usually a lighter blue, but I kind of like it. I kind of really like the darker blue. I think that looks pretty sharp, so yeah, I think this is actually a pretty neat release. I actually really like this piece, very simple to take on and off. I love the little Venom head hanging out to the side talking to him. I think it's really nicely done, nicely sculpted, nicely painted. So really appreciate all that. And it's pretty easy to pop these pieces on and off, I have to say. So go ahead and get this in here. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool little release. I actually really like it a lot. The one thing I would say though, sometimes it looks like these hoops here in the hands might be stretching the fingers out a little bit. So if you're going to put this in a bin or store it somewhere for a while, maybe just take those out of the hands. Just something to be aware of. But overall, I think that is a pretty cool release. I'm actually really happy with that. The only problem is sometimes getting them to stand because the weight distribution can be a little weird. But we'll get there. There we go. Okay, moving on to Venom. Lobster aside, I think it's a pretty cool fig. I really like the wings. Honestly, to me, he looks more like a gargoyle than bat wings, but I'm into it. I think it looks really, really cool. This is just a complete backpack piece that just pegs into this giant peg hole on his back. And it's actually kind of cool because these wing pieces come separately, and you plug them in. You can see it's pretty seamless. Spider-Man is looking for attention. We'll just lay him down. It's fine. So it fits in. They're pretty seamless here. And the nice thing is they have the way the connectors are shaped. You can't possibly put them in backwards, which is nice. They have, like, there is a plastic piece on this side, and then there's a groove for it over here, and you can't switch them because the plastic pieces are different shapes. I always appreciate that kind of stuff. So really cool. I love this. Like, again, I love the colored plastic they used here. I think it looks really neat. You can see all this molded detail. If you're someone that wants to do like a black wash or paint this or something, it could probably come up really, really cool. I love all that molded detail. And then, like I said, this piece just pegs right here into this giant hole on his back. And then, boom, he's got his giant gargoyle wings. Looks pretty cool. I actually like it a lot. So taking a look at the Venom figure itself, head sculpt's pretty good. I think the paint for the eyes is fantastic. The mouth is really nicely detailed. The teeth there are painted. You got the mouth. You got the crazy tongue piece, of course. You have your usual articulation for the head. I guess it's just a swivel, actually, now that I look at it. It is not a ball joint. You can kind of see right there that it is just a swivel, but it gets the job done. You have these little pieces here of like the symbiote going crazy. Personally, I don't need those. I've always kind of associated them more with Carnage than Venom. I know it's become more commonplace with Venom recently, but again, the era that I kind of grew up with, Maximum Carnage, Lethal Protector, Venom didn't really have the tentacles as much as like Carnage did, but I still think they're kind of neat. Those are all molded in there. Otherwise, your articulation is pretty usual. You have the hinge and the swivel in the shoulder. You have the hinge and the swivel in the elbow. You have these really nice kind of clawed fingers, which I think look really cool. Nice design there. You can see that the piece on the back of his hand is molded there, but not painted. So typically Venom has like a patch of white here, which is where the web shooters happen. And it's molded in there, but they decided not to paint it. So it's kind of interesting. I do think that this is primarily built off the original Venom figure that we got back in like the first wave of Spider-Man way back in the day, which feels longer ago now than it probably should. So I think it's built off of that, but obviously with some tweaks, because I don't believe that Venom had these pieces on the back. I wish I had it handy. I meant to get it out and I couldn't find it, so apologies there. I also think this piece on the back here is a little different. So it might be a situation where like they reused the arms and the legs but had to make a new torso, something like that. Maybe the same head as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I also don't really love that he's got this big stamp here on the back of his calf, some kind of copy code. So that's not great. In any case, getting back into it, nothing in the wrists, nothing in the waist. Kick out to the side for the hip. Kick forward, and then you have the usual bend and swivel at the knees. But he does look pretty cool. I mean, if you have the original Venom, which I don't think is very hard to get these days, that's probably the better... Well, let's put it this way. If you're not a fan of the Lobster, like me, then I think you're better off going with that Venom. It's a more classic black. It has the better white spider on, and I think that one goes onto the back as well. I could be wrong about that. It's been a minute since I've looked at it. But I really do like the kind of metallic blue. I don't know why. It just really works. I think it looks really neat. And I think the wings are really cool as well. So I think, this one does have something different to offer. Personally, that's why I like having both of them. Because I feel like the original one is kind of a more classic Venom look. Whereas this is kind of a more maybe contemporary, King in Black, Venom War comic book Venom. So... Venom has looked different over the ages. Always pretty much the same, but a little different here or there. And it's cool to kind of have two different versions. I mean, if nothing else, you could kind of pretend that this is like Riot or somebody, because, Venom doesn't have a lobster. It's a little difficult to get him to stand as well, because there he goes. Because of the weight of the backpack, there's a decent amount of weight there, but if you just kind of pitch him forward a little bit, you can usually get them to stand. So hopefully both of these guys will cooperate for the next couple minutes. But I think they're both fun releases. I mean, they're not terribly expensive. I think they're $12.99 each. So it's kind of weird. There's kind of a couple different price points now with the Epic World of Action. You have your like most basic figure, which is still around the $10, $11 price point, which is like no frills, maybe one accessory like Red Hulk was. Then you have this kind of class, which is like $12.99, where it's like quote-unquote like a deluxe figure, where it's a standard figure, but it's got a couple more accessories, something more involved going on. And then you have your like $14.99, which is like your Spidey and mini vehicle, or like your Falcon winged backpack flight stand contraption. So that tends to be like the three kind of price points. They're all the same basic figures. It's kind of what they come with. But yeah, for $12, $13 a piece, I think these are fun. I really like both of them. I think they look good. I like their accessories. I think, my only real complaint is that lobster on Venom's chest. I mean, fix that. And, if he had a standard Venom white spider on here, that would be a perfect figure to me, honestly. This guy's a lot of fun as well. I wish his eyes were white. So it's like one minor paint thing on each of them. Otherwise, they're pretty great. They're pretty great. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.